In this section, we will cover the negative stock report and the correct procedures for doing cycle counts. What are some reasons for negative stock? Some reasons for negative stock are having more items on your shelf than what our PartsWatch system shows. An example would be having 4 batteries on the shelf and the computer is only showing 3. Items are on a reserve or deposit ticket and haven't been received into the computer. Special orders direct from our suppliers, billed out but yet not received into the computer. An example, in effort to help our customer, we have ordered a part from a supplier like ISN, and the customer has already picked up and paid for the item, but we have yet to receive it into our system. Incorrect part number sold, as shown in the example on the screen. The purchase modifier, also known as a P modifier, was not used when billing out mixed paint. The negative stock report prints with your nightly reports. If it doesn't print, you are able to reprint through PartsWatch by clicking on Menu, Reports, Inventory, Inventory Info, and then selecting the negative stock report and hitting Print. With your negative stock report in hand, you will want to review and fix items as needed. When finished, the report should be filed in drawer 1 of your filing cabinet. It is important to keep the nightly report for 3 months because once you've made changes, the next night's report will no longer display the adjustments. To better understand the report from left to right, you'll see the line code and part number followed by the description field. To review the report, we'll be focusing on the columns quantity available, which references how many parts are negative. The quantity reserved is for a product on a reserve ticket and not been received into your computer. If you see a number under the quantity on order for the negative report, this is caused when a customer has ordered a part through the My Place for Parts after the distribution's cutoff time, which is 5 p.m. If you see a number under the vendor back order, that means the part has been pre-sold to your customer and you're waiting for the back order to be filled. We are now going to use PartsWatch and go through a few examples from the negative stock report handout that you had printed out at the beginning of this video. The first one we're going to go over is the GRW part, which stands for gear wrench, of 80733. The part came in from ISN and was received as ISN KDT 80733, which is ISN's part number for the gear wrench. The team member that sold the part billed it out as GRW 80733 and oversold it, and now it is showing on the negative stock report. To fix this negative part, we need to do an invoice. Credit the GRW 80733 back to the customer and bill them the correct part of number of ISN KDT 80733. If there is a difference in the selling price, adjust the selling price of the ISN KDT 80733 to match the selling price of the GRW 80733. So the invoice shows a 0 balance due. As you can see here on this copy of the invoice is how it got fixed. Now the GRW 80733 will be fixed and removed off of your negative stock report. The next set of negative part numbers we are going to go over are the ISN part number of MIT MV A660, ISN AST9401, and ISN KTI 71715. These three part numbers were not received into the inventory until after they were sold to the customer. Either the parts were pre-sold to the customer or the parts were at the store and were not received in when they came in. To fix these part numbers, we just do a receiving PO to receive them into inventory, and that is how these part numbers get fixed off of our negative stock. As you can see here, the remaining 5 ISN part numbers on the negative report, the ISN HAN 73136, the ISN KDT 2522, ISN number MITMV 8500, ISN OTC 4505, and ISN OTC 5606 were quantity adjusted back to zero because the parts were at the store and set aside for their customer, but not invoiced out yet. As you can see, the store did a cycle count on 7/13 of 2016 and could not find the parts on the shelf because the parts were in the salesperson's office, and then quantity adjusted them off of inventory that day. The parts were then sold to their customer and went negative. In this case, since the parts were originally quantity adjusted off of inventory, you can quantity adjust them back on. So from here, I'll show you where they got quantity adjusted back on 9/1. And there you go. As you can see, there are different ways why a part is on the negative stock report. Remember, it is okay to have a part on the negative stock report if the part was pre-sold and not shipped to your store yet. Also remember, if the part is pre-sold and is showing on your negative stock report on the morning of the 26th, the part must be put on Section 6 of your IRW. There are 7 procedures on how to correctly do your cycle counts. They are the reserve inventory cost report, the inventory count report, count the inventory on your shelves, research any variances, correct your quantity on hand, the parts ledger report, and confirming completion of the cycle count to the support center. To run the reserve cost report, go to Menu, Reports, Inventory, Inventory Cost, click on the Reserve Cost Report button, enter the line code you want to count, and click Print. The Reserve Inventory Cost Report shows you all the parts you have on deposit, reserved, and source and receive tickets. These tickets remove the inventory from the quantity available column and put them in the quantity reserve column. When you run the inventory count report, these parts that are on the reserve inventory costs report will not be included in your quantity available on the count sheet. The parts on the reserve inventory cost report could be potentially counted by mistake because the parts should still be in your store since they have not been billed out on an invoice. Remember, if you use deposit, reserve, and source received tickets, these parts cannot leave the store until the invoice has been finalized. The inventory count report is used to run your count sheet before you begin to count your inventory. Go to Menu, Reports, Inventory, Inventory Count. Enter in the line code you are going to count. Click on the Advanced Criteria button. Once in the Inventory Report Override screen, use the drop-down arrow and pick the not equal to 0 for the quantity on hand field and for the order point field, as you can see here. The reasons why we changed the quantity on hand and order point field is so your count sheet will only show parts that have a quantity available and parts that are showing zero quantity available but have an order point. Once done changing the quantity on hand and order points fields, click the OK button and then click on the print button to print your count sheet. With the count sheet, have the team member that is going to count the inventory sign their name in the Count It By space and have them count the inventory. Make sure you are counting the shelf to the count sheet. The reason why we should always count the shelf to the sheet is because you could potentially be missing part numbers that are in the incorrect location or part numbers that are not on your PartsWatch system's quantity on hand. Once done counting the inventory, we have to research any variances. Use the Lisa transaction report to research sales. Was there product sold after the count sheet was printed, but before the shelf was counted? We can use the Patty report to research any receiving or return errors. Was their product received during the time the cycle count was going on and put away on the shelf before the shelf got counted? We can use the parts ledger report to research sales, returns, receiving, and return POs. What are some reasons for missing parts? The part is on the new return shelf and was missed during the count. The part is on the special order or will call area and was missed during the count. The part is being used on a job in the machine shop. The part is with your salesperson and was not billed to the salesman demo account. The number was transposed when invoiced out. There are multiple shelf locations where the product is kept, and not all the locations were counted. The part is on the core or warranty shelf and was returned as a new part. The part was stolen. The part was sent back to the supplier and no return PO was done to remove the part from your inventory. We have to correct the variances so the PartsWatch system matches the actual shelf count in your store. Was the variance caused by receiving or return error? Fix the mistake with a write-in PO. A few examples are the part was returned to the supplier but no return PO was done. A special order part came in and no receiving PO was done. Was the variance caused by an invoice error? Fix the mistake with an invoice. A few examples are the wrong part number was billed out, a return was done as new instead of as a defective. The last resort to correcting a variance would be using the quantity adjust screen. The quantity adjust should only be used for unexplained shelf differences. While in the quantity adjust screen, use the replace, enter your line code, part number, and quantity. You are changing the quantity you physically counted. An example on part number RAI RX200, PartsWatch was showing 3 and you only counted 2. Click on the update button once you've made your change. Another feature in the quantity adjust screen is the display button. If you have a small line code or multiple changes on a line code that you counted, you can click on the display button after you check replace and enter your line code. This feature will then load all the part numbers for that line code and will allow you to scroll through them to make the changes to the quantity. Once done making all the changes, click on the update button and that line will update all at one time. Once done correcting the changes to the line code, we have to print a parts ledger report to verify our quantity adjustments. Open parts ledger screen by going to Menu, Reports, Inventory, Parts Ledger. Enter in the line code you counted. Enter in QUA in the detail field. Click on the print button. Look over the report for large quantity and value changes, and make any corrections before reporting completion to the support center. File the parts ledger report with your cycle count sheets. The last step to completing your cycle count is to report the completed line code to the support center. Using your remote desktop, click on the cycle count icon, select your store number, enter the team member's name that counted the line, and pick the line code that was counted. Next, check the action box. Was the line code not in your store? Were there no changes made? Or there was changes made? If you check changes made, you must enter the cost of increase and the cost of decrease from your parts ledger report that you printed out. Any additional comments, if you have them, can be added to the additional comments section. Click on the update to finish the notification to the support center. You can also use the cycle count icon to see which line codes you have left to count. Once done reporting completion to the support center, file all the paperwork in your cycle count file for the month that you counted it. Who at your store should do the cycle count process? The answer is well-trained team members. Let's recap the cycle count process. First, we have to run a reserve cost report to see all the parts that are on reserve for the line we are about to count. Next, we print a count sheet and count the shelves to the sheet. Research any missing or additional parts. Fix quantities by using POs, invoices, or quantity adjust. Make sure to check your adjustments by printing a parts ledger report. Report the completion of the line code to the support center by using the cycle count icon on the remote desktop. You always want to use well-trained team members to do your cycle counts. You can print a quick reference guide on the cycle count process from the APH Intranet by going to the Accounting tab, Documents and Forms, and the form is called Cycle Counts on PartsWatch. Or you can use the PartsWatch training manual.